Hi, everybody.
Hello.
I'm
And
Antoinette from Antoinette McQueenie Homeopathy.
I'm Groff Mayam Healing, and we are the weekly dose.
The weekly dose. Dun, dun, dun. A right pair of doses. Double
Oh,
dose.
double deuce. Double deuce. So this week we are continuing our menopause chat or
Oh,
perimenopause. And I thought we would talk this week about anxiety. Because it kind of covers, I mean, anxiety is happens at any age, but it definitely can and for me, I don't know about you and your practice, but it's sometimes the first sign I kind of really see with some of my clients when I see that ramping up before I see hormonal evidence of perimenopause. It's like suddenly a client who's, you wouldn't have described as anxious, and suddenly there's anxiety creeping in, and they're just not coping with life in the way they were before. And that for me has been one of the signs. I'm like, oh, I think there's a bit of perimenopause creeping in here. Um, and so it definitely ramps up at that time for some of us. Um,
yeah.
yeah.
I think this obviously is not scripted.
Yeah. Look at your notes. What notes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, let me just consult my notes. Um, I think a lot of women have anxiety, and I think many don't even realize that they have it because the feeling is there all the time. Maybe it doesn't even have a word because it's just part of them. And I think I probably never had anxiety until I had my first baby, and it was probably a hormonal thing and possibly trauma because I think there's so many different reasons for anxiety, and it's probably why anti-anxieties don't work for everybody. They work for a very small minority. So like trauma that's not been dealt with, that's one of the things that comes right back in perimenopause, doesn't it? Because we want to heal as much as we can before we go into the next thing, into the next phase of our lives. And I think I probably mentioned before that my anxiety got really bad about two Christmases ago, and that was linked to alcohol and sugar in alcohol
Yeah.
and just overdoing it at Christmas. So loads and loads of reasons for it. What about you? What do
Yeah.
you see?
Um, Again, I see there's a real physiological aspect to it because you see it in the people who, and again, the climate we live in, people are burnout. So those who are perpetually, and particularly they did it in their 20s and 30s and they did it with such ease. And it's like, no, I can get 6 hours sleep a night and keep going all week and I'm grand. And
Yeah.
then, bang, and suddenly this anxiety piece creeps in, and we know the adrenals are just not able anymore, and the adrenals are something that's kicking in at menopause, perimenopause. So there's also, I think, when people understand, or when women understand, that their bodies are actually showing them something's changing and something's activating. But the burnout is a big one for me, and I think it's one that I would relate
Yeah.
to as well. Is burnout turns into anxiety. And then if you're tired on top of the anxiety, it just becomes like a minefield. So that would be, and I think as well, synthetic hormones contribute to it as well. I know certainly I was on the pill for a long time and didn't realize I had this low grade anxiety that I was living with for years, and just didn't, I just thought that was how people felt.
Yeah.
And so by the time I got to menopause, it really ramped up.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We need to be looking after our adrenals
Mm,
because that's it's exactly this time that the problems do show up. So if we're living in a highly adrenalized state the whole time because we're really busy and we're doing so much and we're like you said, running on 6 hours sleep a night or 4 hours sleep a night or looking after small kids and babies and parents maybe as well and then doing the job, um, the adrenals are having to work overtime and they're having to produce extra energy,
mm,
adrenalized energy to keep us going throughout the day. But then you can't sleep at night when you've got all that adrenalized blood in your body and you're trying to sleep and you're twitching, you're tossing and turning, or you might fall asleep for
mm,
40 minutes and then you're up. as if you've had a full night's sleep. It's not, you can't really blame the anxiety. It's that's just the symptom. That's just showing you what's come up because of your lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I think women especially have had a really hard deal being told that they can do it all, they can have
Yeah.
it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
The
this is the
worst thing
kickback
ever.
from having it all
Yeah.
and doing it all.
Yeah. And I think as
Um,
well, the other thing with this phase is because it is, we are, it's the puberty for the 40-year-olds or 50-year-olds, as I heard it recently described. It is another rite of passage, it's another change, it's a change up, it's an upgrade, whatever we want to call it. But that can be anxiety riddled, because suddenly it's like maybe your kids are leaving the home and it's like, well, who am I if I'm not mothering my kids? Your body is changing. What's going on? Your identity is evolving. So anxiety can also be creeping in with the fluctuations in the body, but also because your body is pushing you to evolve. And that might be something that women are resisting because, again, the society norm is, you have somebody like Jennifer Aniston showing you herself looking at 59, looking like she's 29. I mean, what make that, we don't embrace the aging process. So to actually embrace this transition, when you resist it, it creates trauma, it creates anxiety. So there's this push me, pull me piece as well. And I think that really needs to be named for women, to actually embrace this stage will help the anxiety as well. That makes sense.
yeah, it makes perfect sense. And just I want to follow on from what you're saying about the anti-aging thing. That's obviously
Mm,
huge business, the whole anti-aging
sure.
market. But like we're both talking to a lot of women who are trying to fit in, getting the kids out to school in the morning, going to work for a full day, getting the kids from their after school activities, doing the homework, getting the dinner, tidying up, and then doing an exercise class at nighttime
Yeah,
because it's the only time that they can fit it in. So they're doing these high intensity workouts at night time. And that's just pumping stress hormones into the body. Because the body thinks at that stage, oh Jesus, there's something really wrong. There's something chasing me. I have to produce
yeah,
extra cortisol and whatever. And then you can't sleep again because we're trying to do it all. You can't sleep
yeah,
when you've got all these stress hormones in your body. And I know there's a lot of people who feel they can't sleep unless they do exercise. And that's another sign of adrenal burnout, that there's just too much
yeah,
adrenaline pumping around. You have to burn it off. So I would really encourage people to look at when they are exercising. 9 o'clock at night is not the time for doing aerobic exercise. And also another thing that can cause a high stress state first thing in the morning, you know this already anyway, Grania, is having a coffee on an empty stomach, because when we wake up, just before we wake up, our body produces cortisol that helps us to move from sleep to being awake, and gets us up and gets us showered and all that. But if we get up and we have coffee straight away, that produces a double shot of cortisol. So now we're in
mm,
excess stress hormones before we even start the day. And I know people
yeah,
love getting up and having their coffee when the house is quiet, and it's a little ritual for some, but I would say eat first before having the coffee. And it'll make a huge
yeah,
difference. It's just a tiny
yeah,
little tweak that we can make to help
yeah.
ourselves.
I think the bottom line with the anxiety piece, first of all, is to say that there are wonderful remedies, no matter what stage of life you are in, that will actually help you not only work through the anxiety, but also work through what's underneath the anxiety. And the more you open up with your homeopath, the more we can support you with that integration and with that shift. But it's also to connect with your body and to really feel into your body, to slow down enough to actually listen and notice the changes, and not be in that, where you don't notice. And I know we had said about a little sidebar we were going to have today, and this
Oh
is
yeah.
just, and it's just timely because of I was saying, the where I move into just across the road, there's the most amazing uh, elderberry and hawthorn tree actually, and I'm actually going to go up and get some elderberry to make some elderberry syrup. What we need for our bodies is all around us if we just open our eyes and look. Um, and it's the slowing down, connecting with nature, connecting with our bodies, and listening to our bodies, you know. And I think if you were really, or not, I think, because again, if I feel in my body, if I was feeling that, I would know my body doesn't want me jumping up on a treadmill at 9 o'clock at night. It really doesn't. So just to slow down, but also to see what's around you, because nature is there to support you as well, and your land is supporting you.
Yeah, and I suppose now that we're coming into cold and flu season, it's really important to look after not only our anxiety levels, but everything that's happening with our body. And cold and flu season is a marketing ploy, and I've probably used those words before myself, but
Same,
it's when we're
same.
pushing, we keep pushing and pushing at the same level that we've been going through the whole summer, spring and summer with, and we're coming to the end of autumn. Actually, we've got another month of autumn. It's traditionally the time when we should be starting to slow down. Our bodies are starting to slow down, but we keep pushing and pushing and going against nature and going against our bodies. That's when we run into trouble. And that's why so many people end up sick at Christmas time when they
Yeah,
finally have a bit of time off.
yeah,
um the body finally feels safe enough to slow down and detox, and that's all
yeah,
a cold or a flu is. It's a detox. It's stuff coming out.
absolutely. Or an
So
upgrade,
maybe,
one way or
yeah,
the other.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. But either way, it's good. It's good
yeah.
to have this, and maybe not to be relying on. I actually heard somebody talking about a COVID test. I didn't think those were even still a thing, and and they were never designed for that purpose anyway. But we don't need tests. We shouldn't need tests to tell us that we're sick. We should
Mm.
know. We should be able to
Yeah,
feel it, and we should be
yeah,
able to honor that time, and do our best, do our very best to honor that time with rest and fluids and vitamin C and zinc and all of that, and not just keep
yeah.
pushing on through, because all you're doing is kicking the problem down the road to Christmas time.
This is again, it's that kind of, in actual fact, even listening to you talk about that, like we've been so busy over the summer, and now that we're so busy getting ready for winter, and we're so busy for Christmas. No wonder we all have so much
Yeah,
anxiety. You know, no wonder it's so prevalent in society now. Whereas just coming back here and slowing the hell down, and so I guess, to conclude this a little bit, it's like anxiety is there, and yes, we have amazing remedies that can help both acutely and then chronically to work through what's underlying the anxiety, but there's also a journey you have to go on yourself.
yeah,
It's coming back to your body and listening to your body. And I love helping women with that. And and I'm saying women in particular because we're talking about menopause, but I love helping women come back to themselves and come back to their being. And that is what this age is about. And we'll talk more about that again another time. But I think coming back to that here and pointing at my heart, you can't see it, but yeah, do you
yeah.
want to
That's
conclude,
gorgeous.
Ethan?
No, that's it. You've said everything. I suppose for us as homeopaths, anxiety or the mental problems are much more important than the physical things. So if somebody is coming to us with maybe migraines or gut issues or period problems, that's fine. That's obviously we want to get relief, but it's more important that we get relief in the mental symptoms first, the anxiety and the mood and
Yeah.
sleep and all of that, much more important, because once they're resolved, the other things tend to fall away a bit easier as well. So we would be keeping a very, very close eye on anxiety. And like I said, we have fabulous remedies for all types of anxiety, regardless of the cause. And yeah, that's all I want to say.
The end. Thank you
Okay.
very much. Hit the
Bye.
subscribe button.
Ooh.